All in all, a pretty bad day for Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers. First, he is unanimously rebuked by the far-left Wisconsin Supreme Court. What could he have possibly done that's too radical, even for the radicals that comprise the court's left-wing majority? Then a couple of hours later, a new Marquette University Law School poll finds 55% of Wisconsinites don't want him to run for a third term. All of this, plus much, much more, coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Next hour, the daily Trump date. It was a busy second day at The Hague with President Trump meeting with NATO representatives and the Director General of NATO calling him Daddy. No, I'm not kidding about that. Plus, there was actually an insurrection at the United States Capitol this afternoon. Weirdly enough, it wasn't reported as such by the national media, which now has egg on its face as well about that leaked report that the CNN reporter who also was behind the infamous Russian disinformation report regarding the Hunter Biden laptop that we now know was completely and totally false. He was the same reporter who reported that the initial damage assessment of the Fordo nuclear facility following the American strike was totally wrong, and that Iran's nuclear program was only set back a couple of months. That thoroughly debunked by the International Atomic Energy Agency, Israel's energy agency, and new intelligence from the Director of National Intelligence herself, Tulsi Gabbard. We will get into that. An update on the story that we brought to you exclusively yesterday. A Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy threatened with criminal contempt charges because he dared to suggest, after working for 16 straight hours and then being forced to testify in a DUI trial that was delayed from its planned 9 a.m. start time, that maybe he be allowed to go home and get some sleep before he has to go through another lengthy overnight shift. Fortunately, it was a happy ending. I can report the deputy did testify, and in fact, his supervisor at the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department allowed him to go in a little bit later. Big reason that he was freaking out over having to testify. He apparently had to pick up his child at daycare. At 2:52 p.m., he finally took the stand for a DUI case that was scheduled to start at 9 a.m. We also have a truly disturbing story for you, folks, and I actually wrestled with whether or not to relay this pretty much all afternoon. It's from the Capital Times, and it's about a 12-year-old transgender child who is transitioned at age 3. I'm going to go through it only because it illustrates just how seriously mentally ill the parents are who inflict irreversible damage on their kids. This was presented as a Pride Month puff piece by the Capital Times, and it reads, honest to goodness, for sane people, like a horror story. In the 5 o'clock hour, we will get into the deepest analysis that you will yet see about demographic shifts in Wisconsin that might render, I don't want to say elections meaningless, but could result in Wisconsin being a far bluer state than any of us are comfortable with. Trust me, you are going to want to listen to this. 4:30 for the disturbing trans 3-year-old story. And then at 5:06, as we do a deep dive into demographics as Wisconsin's political destiny. We get to that throughout the show, but before any of it, we want to give you a bribe. Just for listening to us a chance at $1,000. We call it the Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest. Really, it's a bribe. We play each and every day, each and every hour between 9 and 5. All you need to do to enter is go to our website, newstalk1130.com in Milwaukee, WIBA.com in Madison. Enter the keyword green, GREEN, green. You've got until 55 past the hour. Go to our website, enter the keyword green. Your entry is picked at random. You win $1,000. If you want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, we believe we have our phones fixed. Yes, we think, we hope. It's on. We had an engineer in there just as the show was starting, making sure we would be able to take your phone calls. If you want to test it out, you know what? Let's make producer Eric work. Give us a call, 414-799-1130. One of my favorite movies was released 32 years ago, right around this time. In fact, probably my favorite all-time movie, Jurassic Park. Do you remember when Alan Grant, the protagonist, calls back to the little bunker where the survivors are all holed up, and he says, "Mr. Hammond, the phones work. What I want you to do is call up producer Eric. And if the phones are working, if you can get through, tell him, Mr. Paulson, the phones work. 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly. Yes, I'm dead serious about this, Eric. You don't look like you've been working hard enough this afternoon. DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Follow me. Watch me on the Dano Cam. At Dan O'Donnell Show on X. At Dan O'Donnell Show on Facebook. At Dan O'Donnell Show on the Gram. As the kids say, we're also streaming live on YouTube. Big unanimous Supreme Court ruling today out of Madison actually reins in Governor Evers' partial veto authority. The case was known as Legislature v. DPI. Under the Wisconsin Constitution, a governor can use his partial veto authority on any act of the legislature, any bill that comes across his desk that appropriates state funds, anything that has some sort of fiscal impact to it. The court's liberal majority did something that I thought was truly shocking. It didn't side with Governor Evers. Dane County Circuit Court judge ruled late last year that Governor Evers was able to partially veto a bill that created a new DPI literacy program because a separate bill that funded the program included an appropriation. You following this? You can only partially veto a bill if there's an appropriation of state money. There were two bills. One bill apportions or appropriates state money. The other bill creates this literacy program. Governor Evers used his partial veto authority on the bill that created the literacy program, not the bill that funded it. I know we are getting so deep in the weeds, I probably need a machete, but this is important to understand, folks. The judge basically ruled that the package of a total of 3 bills could be considered one legislative action, and Governor Evers could use his partial veto authority on any of those bills. Now, this is a dramatic expansion of Governor Evers' partial, or any Governor Evers' partial veto authority. It would mark the most significant expansion of it since we started with the partial veto in 1930. It would also completely take the state legislature out of the lawmaking process, because all Governor Evers would need to do is, let's say the legislature passes a bill, I don't know, banning all chewing gum. Yes, those hardliners in the state legislature. I don't know why chewing gum popped into my head, but it did. Governor Evers could under this district court, under this circuit court's ruling, say, all right, well, because there is theoretically another piece of legislation that funds the banning of chewing gum, I can partially veto the chewing gum ban to say only juicy fruit is banned here. In a truly shocking development, the state Supreme Court unanimously rejected this argument. Why do I say it was so stunning? Well, you might remember just a couple of months ago, the Wisconsin Supreme Court's liberal majority actually held that Governor Evers' infamous 400-year veto was perfectly fine and dandy. In that case, it was Lemieux v. Evers. Governor Evers, you might recall, used a Vanna White veto to combine numbers and to fund schools not through the 2024-2025 biennium, but to 24-25. Human beings may well be all living on Mars by then, but here in Wisconsin, we will still be paying more in our tax dollars to fund Governor Evers' failing public school system. The Supreme Court upheld that power over the strenuous objections of the three-justice minority. In fact, alleged conservative Brian Hagedorn actually wrote possibly the best dissent of his tenure on the court, in which he just tore this opinion to shreds. And he argued correctly that what this decision allows the governor to do is to just completely subsume legislative authority, take it away entirely from the legislature and create whatever law he wants. The Supreme Court the four libs got very cute here, and they said, well, yes, we have said it's unconstitutional to cross out individual letters, but we didn't say anything about numbers. You can totally cross out different numbers. Well, what this does is, so a veto is a negative power. It takes away something, right? A veto says, nope, can't do this. I'm going to stop it. What the 400-year veto was a positive power. In other words, Governor Evers was using what should be a negative power to strike out things, to create funding that the legislature never intended. In other words, he was writing himself a brand new bill, pretending that the legislature had funded increased levels of public school funding for the next 400 years, and then signing off on it himself. This is blatantly unconstitutional. So what changed for this Wisconsin Supreme Court in between that ruling in April and the 9-0 ruling on almost the exact same thing, expansion of the governor's partial veto authority, that came out today? A 9-0 slapdown by the United States Supreme Court. It is my very strong belief, that even though this case, the one that was decided today, was likely not reviewable by the United States Supreme Court because it deals entirely with state issues, it is my very strong belief that the 4-justice majority, the liberal majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, didn't want the same level of national embarrassment that they got in the case Catholic Charities v. Wisconsin Labor and Industry Review Commission. You might remember that one, in which they were so out there, their ruling was so terrible, that Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the wise Latina herself, wrote for the 9-0 majority, the unanimous decision of the United States Supreme Court, that the Wisconsin Supreme Court, the 4 libs, the 3 conservatives, Rebecca Bradley, Annette Ziegler, and alleged conservative Brian and Hagedorn all vehemently objected, using the exact same constitutional arguments that even Ketanji Brown Jackson and Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor were persuaded by at the federal level. That what the Supreme Court did in Wisconsin was to treat Catholic charities differently than any other religious organization and thus violate their First Amendment rights. Sotomayor wrote in what, to use a professional wrestling analogy, can only be described as a flying elbow off the top rope. She wrote, "It is fundamental to our constitutional order that the government maintain neutrality between religion and religion. There may be hard calls to make in policing that rule, but this is not one of them." May not seem like a slapdown, but this was like an atomic wedgie. And you know the libs on the Wisconsin Supreme Court were sitting there, much like Julius Caesar as he's being stabbed, saying, "Et tu, Ketanji?" That's how badly they were embarrassed. I wonder if they assessed, because there is nothing about any of these four women that should ever give you the idea that they are jurists, that they do any manner of constitutional interpretation. They are political hacks and, frankly, kind of dumb ones. Honest to goodness, their ruling in the legislative redistricting, the gerrymandering case that they released the day before Christmas, they released the 400-year veto decision, you might recall, on Good Friday. They only release their worst opinions, the most controversial and also the most important rulings right before holiday weekend so that nobody will realize what it is that they actually did. Their logic, if you can call it that, is so tortured that it almost defies belief. Why did every single one of them get this case right? I'm telling you, it was because they were embarrassed even by their fellow libs. I said it was a bad day for Governor Evers. We will get into his polling, plus an update on that story we broke for you regarding the deputy threatened with contempt charges. All that and more coming up next.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show.
More of the show next.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Superstar performances, never before seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
Joseph, your business coach and owner of the EWH University for Small Business. Want to deliver your product or service better in business? Tune in to WISN Sundays at 11 a.m. for tips to grow your business successfully. To learn more, visit ewhuniversity.com.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because, big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna. You probably think your 401k is safe, that it's growing, that it will be enough for your retirement. But what if it's not? Here's the truth. Your 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift risk from corporations to you, leaving your money exposed to market crashes, inflation, and uncertainty. But now Americans are taking back control with real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands protect their future by converting part of their retirement savings into physical gold, so they can stop worrying about the market and start sleeping better at night. Talk to Noble Gold today and learn how safe and easy it is to roll over your 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit, including a step-by-step guide to get started. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. It's time to get your money out of the danger zone and into something real.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
New Marquette University Law School poll, not its biggest one, 873 registered voters, but 55% of those say Tony Evers should not seek a third term as governor. 42% said the governor should run again. Now, this is very similar to Governor Walker 2 years before he ultimately decided to try to run for a third term in 2018, where he lost to Evers. 61% then said Evers should not run for a third term. The only difference is that there were a whole lot of Republicans who were already starting to turn on Walker after his failed run for the presidency in 2016. It was, if you'll recall, a big controversy that when Governor Walker gave his victory speech on election night 2014 after he beat Mary Burke, that he basically threw his hat into the ring running for president 2 years later. He probably would have been a very strong contender if Donald Trump didn't come out of nowhere in the summer of 2016 and just suck the air out of every other candidate. Well, we didn't know then that Trump was a once-in-a-lifetime political phenomenon, and Walker's campaign fizzled out. Well, he went back to Wisconsin. The problem, though, for him was, A, he was running in a big Republican year, a big Democrat year. B, we were just starting to learn about just how effective Democrats' mail-in ballot ballots were when they withhold them until about 12:30 a.m. in Milwaukee County and then dump them all at once. And C, people said, well, okay, third term, there's a reason that since Wisconsin switched to 4-year terms for its governors, only Tommy Thompson, who is by far the most popular governor in the state's history, has ever won more than 2 terms. Walker lost. I think there is significant fear that Evers will do the same, even in what's projected to be a big Democrat year in the 2026 midterms. So much so that I am strongly convinced that this poll, which is sitting front and center at jsonline.com, it is pretty much the top story on every single TV station's news websites across the state, that this is part of a concerted effort to convince Evers not to run again. You might recall before I left for Norway a couple of weeks ago, I was focused like a laser beam on this random blog post by a guy by the name of Dan Schaefer. He's your standard issue lib. The only difference is he actually has not lost the ability to rationally argue. His arguments are shallow and not particularly thought out, but at least he's trying. You know, bonus points, participation trophy for him. He argued that much like Joe Biden, Evers should step aside. Now, I don't know if he's got inside information that Tony Evers is also senile, but these sorts of things on the left don't just happen. You also had State Senator Kelda Helen Royce come out and say on Wisconsin Eye, when she was asked directly, do you think Evers should run again? She said, I think 2 terms is enough. All of these things aren't happening in a vacuum. Then, weirdly, the ultra-successful chairman of the Wisconsin Democratic Party quits. And it just so happens his lifelong dream is to run and win the governorship of Wisconsin. Weird how that works. Now, I'm not saying all of these things are tied into each other. Obviously, Ben Wickler didn't rig a Marquette poll. But there are forces moving behind the scene that don't want Evers to run again, not because they necessarily think he's going to lose, but because they think they themselves can win. Wickler likely knows that this is his only chance. 2030, who knows what the electorate is going to look like? A lot of times, gubernatorial elections in Wisconsin are very much reactions to who wins the presidency 2 years earlier. In 2028, let's say it's the guy who just won the mayorship of, he won the Democratic nomination, but he seems very likely. I think people are whistling past the graveyard that somehow Eric Adams, the incumbent mayor running as an independent, is going to beat the Democrat candidate, Zohran Mamdani, the actual communist and terrorist sympathizer who won the Dem primary. Let's say Zohran Mamdani, running on a ticket with AOC, defeats the Vance Rubio ticket. Very likely Republicans are going to absolutely freak and rebel against whatever nonsensical communism the new left-wing presidential administration tries to implement. Same thing happened in 2010. 2010 midterms, 2010 gubernatorial election, a direct answer, a direct result of Obamacare. You might remember that so widespread and so massive was the opposition to Obamacare and what the new Democrat administration was doing. A Republican actually won the Senate seat in Massachusetts. Teddy Kennedy's Senate seat went to a Republican by the name of Scott Brown. Now, of course, he got beat the next time the seat was up for a full term by Elizabeth Warren. But nonetheless, that should tell you just how predictive presidential races are 2 years later. No guarantee if Democrats win the White House in 2028 that Democrats would have a shot in 2030. Unless, of course, things change so dramatically with respect to Wisconsin's population by then that it might not even matter who's running. We will explain in depth in analysis you won't want to miss coming up in the 5 o'clock hour here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up next, an update to a story we broke for you yesterday. A Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy actually threatened with contempt charges by the DA's office as well as a Milwaukee County judge because he dared to suggest, hey, maybe I shouldn't go for 8 hours of overtime. You people couldn't get your you-know-what together and get a jury impaneled and a trial started when it was supposed to at 9 a.m. All's well that ends well, and we will have that update for you when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns. It's a tour de force of truth.
The next generation is here. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
Truck drivers, the job you have today might not be the one you want tomorrow, and that's okay. At Schneider, our transfer team is here to help you if you decide the job you picked isn't the right fit, or if you come across life changes that require a different schedule or home time. Last year, nearly 2,000 Schneider drivers transferred to different opportunities at the company that better met their lifestyle. Find the driving job that fits yours and your family's needs. Apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
After writing 3 unsuccessful offers, Brenda decided to make a no-regrets offer on this next property. She offered $35,000 over asking and promised to complete the purchase even if the appraised value came in as much as $25,000 below the accepted offer price. Why? Because she was tired of losing and because her AccuNet loan consultant showed her that even in her worst-case scenario, no additional money would be needed at closing, and her payment, which on this home was much more affordable than others she wrote offers on, would only increase by $17 a month. Brenda's no-regrets offer, backed up by a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet, was accepted over several others. And wouldn't you know, the appraised value came in at the significantly higher than asking purchase price, which happens 9 out of 10 times in our experience. If you or someone you know wants help understanding what a no-regrets pre-approval might look like, get started by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
My friends, if your garage floor has exposed concrete with stains and cracks and pitting, it makes your entire garage look bad and detracts from the beauty of your home. And if you've got a bad epoxy job or chipping paint, it looks even worse. Jay here saying a new Comer and Cross floor really can transform your garage in just a single day. And right now you can get $750 off of their already low price. They make it so easy. Comer and Cross techs will take the stuff out of your garage for you, then fix the cracks and pitting perfectly before applying your gleaming new floor in a 6-step process that has become the gold standard. A Comer and Cross floor is guaranteed never to chip, crack, or show tire lift ever, unlike an epoxy or a paint job. This is a restored floor done right. Call Comer and Cross now for a quick and easy estimate and take $750 off of their already low price. Right now, 262-788-6430. It sounds weird, but I really do find joy in my gleaming new garage floor. Mine was so bad. Now it's brilliant. 262-788-6430 or go to COMERcross.com.
Don't think twice. Call Guys. Garage door broke. Do it right. Don't think twice. Call Guys. Need a new garage door. Do it right. Don't think twice. Call Guys.
Our Geist team understands that when it comes to your business commercial garage doors, toughness and durability are the names of the game. We partner with CHI Overhead Doors for high-speed application installs. They're resettable and they go up and down super fast and constructed only using the finest raw materials and customized with computer-aided precision, ensuring each commercial door we sell or install is delivered on time and with care. care. Call us to get a quote and schedule your new CHI overhead doors commercial installation. Call 262-784-4250 or online at geistdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geist. Don't think twice. Call Geist.
For CHI overhead doors.
Grandview buys homes, and if you have a loved one's home that you need to sell, Grandview will make that process simple, fast, and stress-free. Grandview Homes will give you a no-obligation fair cash offer in as little as 24 hours. Whether it's your home, a loved one's home, a rental, a vacant, or a second home, we buy all homes completely as is. No repairs whatsoever. Take just the belongings you wish to keep and leave the stress and the mess to us. Sell your home as is today. GrandviewHomes.com.
What would your community be like without UW-Madison? The UW is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research. UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just in Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW4 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW4. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
This June, it's your chance to name your price on any furnace or air conditioner at Thielman Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. That's right. Name your price and no reasonable offer will be rejected. Must be installed in June. Get exceptional equipment and expert installation from Thielman Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Don't wait. Name your price and call Thielman Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today. Call 262-240-4085. That's 262-240-4085.
When the temperature goes up, so do your expenses. More sunscreen, mist fans, and ice-cold adult beverages. Supplement your income by playing the nationwide Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest 9 times each weekday. Listen for a keyword to enter at newstalk1130.com, and you could win $1,000.
That would cover my beer tab at Summerfest, maybe. The Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest is presented by 13 North Kitchen and Cocktails on the river in Grafton. Bold flavors from scratch, exceptional service, relaxed atmosphere. 13northgrafton.com.
The next generation is here. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Yesterday, we reported exclusively that a Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy who had pulled over and arrested a woman from Missouri and got her for DUI was threatened with contempt charges himself because he dared to suggest, after the woman's trial was delayed by 5 hours and he was on his 16th hour of work, 8th hour of overtime, that the trial might be postponed to 9 a.m. the next morning. I can report that the deputy did testify yesterday at precisely 2:52 p.m. and was then allowed to go home, where he needed to pick up his child from daycare and then start another overnight shift. Instead of attempting to work with him or accommodate this request, the ADAs, assistant district attorneys who were trying the case, became irate. And they actually threatened the deputy with criminal contempt charges, something that the presiding judge in this case, Cristela Cervera, apparently agreed with. This immediately struck me as yet another example of just open hostility in the Milwaukee County Judiciary and the Milwaukee County DA's office for members of law enforcement who are supposed to be their partners. Remember, it was the exact same Milwaukee County Courthouse where Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan actually tried shielding an illegal immigrant violent criminal from the consequences of his actions, in this case, severely beating his roommate and also attacking his roommate's girlfriend, because she didn't feel like she needed to cooperate with ICE agents with a valid deportation order for this loser. All the ADAs would have needed to do would be to go to the judge and say, hey, could we simply reschedule a DUI trial? This is not like the trial of Maxwell Anderson, where it lasts a week and a half. It lasts maybe an hour or two. And in fact, as I said yesterday, I couldn't believe that this woman is actually fighting it. I don't know the details of this case. There isn't even a criminal complaint because in Wisconsin, first offense DUI is not a crime. It's a municipal citation. It's a violation. But she decided to have a trial on it. So the deputy was needed. And all he would be asked is, did you administer this breathalyzer? Did she have a prohibited alcohol content? He would say yes, and she would get convicted. The status of this case has not yet been updated online. So I don't know if the woman was convicted. I don't know if she was acquitted. I'm just going to assume that she was convicted of this because these cases are remarkably open and shut. Hey, here's the record. Yes, she blew a prohibited blood alcohol level. It was between 0.08, which is the legal limit, and 0.15. Boom, done, guilty. It's very bizarre that the woman came all the way back from Missouri to fight this one, but who knows? Maybe she actually did have, and this case was charged in January of 2024. We are in June of 2025. This thing has been making its way through the court system. So I understand that the judge and the ADAs, they've got bigger fish to fry. They've got actual cases, criminal cases to try. But it just strikes me as bizarre that they can't work with this deputy and say, okay, you know what? The drunk driving lady can sit there one more day. We can squeeze this in tomorrow. Yes, let's work with you. The deputy, I'm assuming, went to the union, went to his bosses and said, hey, what am I supposed to do here? I'm being threatened with criminal contempt. This, by the way, happens far more often than you might think. In fact, very prominent police officers and law enforcement agents have actually been threatened with contempt charges, too, for not doing exactly what it is that the ADAs want them to do or the judges want them to do by saying, hey, look, I've got to be here. I physically can't testify right now. Can you work with me? If you want this case tried, you're going to have to work with the key witness. They're saying, no, we can't do that. And I understand the need to keep a court calendar, but I don't understand is, this guy has been working since 11 p.m. the previous night. How fresh and how with it is he going to be on the stand at 3 p.m. the next day? I can tell you from recent experience, having a 17, 18-hour travel day, getting back from Amsterdam, that all you can think about is how badly you want to lie in bed by the end of that. I couldn't imagine patrolling Milwaukee County's streets and then providing the very valuable service of testifying, but doing so not being totally with it. And then knowing, hey, I've got to pick up my daughter. I've got to get maybe an hour or two of sleep. And then I've got to do it all again. Well, all's well that ends well. He did testify. He was not charged with contempt. And wouldn't you know it, at least the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office or his supervisor in his direct supervisor was able to work with this poor guy and say, okay, I'll tell you what, we're going to stagger your shift, go home, get some sleep. We'll allow you to come in a little bit later. This does, however, I think, reach to, it speaks to, I should say, or raise, kind of combined raise and speaks to into reach there. I do talk for a living. Occasionally, it doesn't seem like it, but this does raise a larger issue. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office are both severely understaffed. There are not nearly enough assistant district attorneys, and this is something I have obviously been a big critic of the Milwaukee County DA's office under John Chisholm, but this is one thing that I actually do support them on. They need more ADAs to try these cases, to prosecute these cases. They need to get away from the idea that we don't prosecute any cases, but that's a different topic and a different discussion. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, just like the Milwaukee Police Department, similarly do not have the ability to adequately patrol the streets. I mean, why do you think this guy didn't feel like he could just, okay, hey, boss, they're making me testify in this stupid DUI case. Can someone cover for me? Probably not, because they don't have the deputies working third shift to be able to do so. All right, when we come back, we will name the unhinged liberal of the day. We'll get you everything you need to know about President Trump's visit to The Hague, including why the Secretary General of NATO is calling him daddy, and much more when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Got an accident off to the right shoulder, 4394 northbound at National, not really causing much of a delay. Westbound 94 jammed Mitchell Boulevard. Crash continues to partially block the off-ramp to 25th. Stay off to the left. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, founder of Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to make quality, custom-made blinds affordable to everyone. Traditional window covering retailers are expensive. Our prices are low, and our blinds are guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
Have you seen our billboards as you're driving around town? Do you wonder what we mean by advisors for real life? At Ellenbecker Investment Group, we make a commitment to our clients, employees, and community to meet you where you are with unmatched personal attention and guide you along your financial journey with honesty, expertise, and an unwavering commitment to your well-being. We're proud to make this commitment to you publicly because we, Ellenbecker Investment Group, really are advisors for real life.
The Milo bedroom from Penny Mustard takes you back to the time of Mad Men, martinis, and mop tops.
Right on. I love Milo's clean, streamlined look. It's a gas.
Made in the USA and scaled to fit any room.
Perfect for your pad. It's totally bodacious.
Wrong decade, Arvid.
Don't be so square, man. The Milo bedroom with queen platform bed, 6-drawer dresser, mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $52.09 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Catering to all who appreciate quality installation, a great value, and the finest windows and doors. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Badger Care, a Humana dual eligible special needs plan, a D-SNP may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $175 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care PPO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with Wisconsin Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Hi, this is Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas. And you know, I'm a consumer just like you. And my ears perk up for pain relief messages just like you. But some of these ads...
Since I started taking this natural supplement, within weeks, my pain is completely gone.
I mean, come on. Give me a break. The truth is, there are imbalances in your body causing your pain. And there's physical therapy, which we are highly skilled at, that can improve imbalances. And there are alternative pain solutions. But not all of them are proven, safe, effective, or affordable. At Rejuvenex, the effectiveness of Toradol joined with hyaluronic acid has been proven. Our treatments are affordable, FDA approved, safe, and they're powerful medicines. They calm inflammation and cushion joints, and they can make your pain go away.
Rejuvenate. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
This is Fox on Justice. An early morning raid in Newark, New Jersey, and a loud wake-up call from the U.S. Marshals.
Police department with a warrant. Open the door.
The team out serving a warrant for a suspected Tren de Aragua gang member, wanted for a string of armed robberies on New York City subways. Also outside that door, interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba.
We're doing multiple cases at once to make sure that we clean up as quickly as possible.
Habba and the team waiting for that main target to surrender, but he's not home. Instead, a group of migrants who the feds say are all in the country illegally finally come out.
Gang member, Tren de Aragua, but they think they have rights here that they just don't have. You are a criminal. You need to get out.
This month-long statewide operation targeting U.S. citizens with arrest warrants, like a New Jersey woman who police say recently shot at least 2 people, and another man wanted for aggravated assault who nearly got away from the feds on a fire escape. I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Should I admit to breaking the law with my children in the car to cover a story for you people? I think I shall. My producer is saying this is a great idea. The lengths I go to keep government officials honest. Okay, I didn't really break the law, but I was going like 75 miles an hour in a 35. Yeah. Well, I saw something and I needed to catch up with what it was that I saw because I couldn't quite believe my eyes. That is what we call in the radio business a tease. We will get that to you, I'm going to say, in about 15 minutes. After the daily Trump date at the top of this hour, we will then segue into one of the more disturbing stories I have read. It's from the Capital Times. It is about a family in Madison that transed their 3-year-old. That child is now 12. I know. Eric, I'm telling you, the details are just, it's heartbreaking. It really is. It just, 3 years old, a 3-year-old child. I can remember when I was maybe 4 or 5, I really wanted a She-Ra toy because I loved He-Man, right? And He-Man's, I don't know if that was his girlfriend or whatever, but it was like She-Ra was the toy that was marketed to girls. I just wanted She-Ra to, complete the set and have like full battles. I think my younger brother ended up beheading She-Ra. It was a tragic battle. She lost to Skeletor because I found the She-Ra toy years later without a head. I have no idea what happened. But could you imagine if because I wanted She-Ra at age 4, my parents give me puberty blockers? Time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is the vice mayor of Cudahy. Not our Cudahy, the Cudahy in Los Angeles County. Her name is Cynthia Gonzalez, and she is under investigation, apparently by the FBI, for this call on TikTok for local gangs to step up and confront ICE.
Not for nothing, but I want to know where all the cholos are at in Los Angeles. 18th Street, Florencia. Where's the leadership at? Because you guys are all about territory, and this is 18th Street, and this is Florencia. You guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you. It's everyone else who's not about the gang life that's out there protesting and speaking up. We're out there like fighting our turf, protecting our turf, protecting our people. And like, where you at?
Yeah, that's a real thing. She wants gang leaders to protect the turf from ICE. This is a vice mayor of a city in Los Angeles County, and she is your unhinged liberal of the day. Stay tuned, Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the number one preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Maloney. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is expected to be released from jail in Tennessee, only to be taken into immigration custody. The Salvadoran national has been in jail since he was returned to the U.S. on June 7th, facing 2 counts of human smuggling. A unanimous state Supreme Court rejection of a controversial Tony Evers veto. The court found the legislature's Republican-controlled Joint Finance Committee acted appropriately last year in refusing to release nearly $50 million from the DPI. Business news brought to you by the Good Feet store. The Dow was down 106.5 points today. The S&P 500 down less than 1/10 of a point, and the NASDAQ was up 61 points. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, Wisconsin native Con Knipple expects to hear his name called during the first round of tonight's NBA draft. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Sean Maloney on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
More thunderstorms are possible tonight into Thursday morning. Hot and humid on Thursday with temperatures in the upper 80s, then falling lakeside in the afternoon with the lake breeze. Thunderstorms are once again possible Thursday afternoon and evening. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Get unbeatable appliance savings and fast delivery on top brands like Electrolux, Frigidaire, and more during the red, white, and blue sale at Grand Appliance. Learn more at grandappliance.com or your local Grand showroom. That's Grand Appliance, appliance expert since 1930.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
Honey, I want to look at organizing our house better. We need to make more space to get organized. I can't seem to find anything around here. Nothing is organized, and the garage is an absolute mess. You know, the neighbors just had tailored closets come in, and they loved the results. We should give them a call.
I agree. The kids seem to leave everything everywhere because there's no defined organized space. That sounds like a great plan. You get the closets redone and organized. I get my garage organized with an awesome garage floor.
Deal.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Almost 15 years ago, I had the tailored closet featuring Premier Garage do my epoxy garage floor, garage cabinets, and my closets in my home. I was so impressed with the results, we bought the company and added it to our existing growing business. Let us help you. Give us a call for a free consultation at 262-875-3010. That's 262-875-3010. Or visit us online at premiergarage.com. That's premiergarage.com.
Sick of all the homeowner headaches? Tired of being a landlord? Did you inherit a property? Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com. We are a local family business, A+ with the BBB. It will make you a fair as-is cash offer within 24 hours. No fees, just cash. MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hey, it's Jerry Butt. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Connect with Holiday's summer road trip sale. Score enticing offers and get more for your trade on a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC.
Oh, we are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest. Take a test drive and get ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be free, meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
Fleet Farm's got a special buy 3, get 1 free deal on Cooper tires you don't want to miss. Just have 4 qualifying Cooper tires installed with our Resolute Road Hazard policy, and the 4th one's free. And count on us for your ATV, lawnmower, trailer, and wheelbarrow tires too. Tires, oil, brakes, batteries, and more. Let Fleet Farm's Auto Center take care of your truck and auto needs, all at the best prices guaranteed. Cooper tire offer not available at Hastings.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
You know, I was just thinking about this. Probably not a good idea to admit to going like 40 miles over the speed limit, making an illegal U-turn, all in, well, moderately legal U-turn. Yeah, I had to turn around very quickly to literally chase down a story. I mean, when reporters talk about chasing a story, it is very rare that they're on their way to dinner with their 2 sons and one of the sons' friends, where they see a story literally drive by them and they have to go chase it down. But that is exactly what happened last night. I'll tell you the story in just a second. We will get to your daily Trump date, as well as the president is now on his way back to the White House from the Netherlands for a 2-day NATO meeting. Right now, however, sizzling summer cash contest. Nationwide keyword this hour is pay, P-A-Y, pay. You've got until 55 past to go to our website, enter the keyword pay, and if your entry is picked at random, we will pay you $1,000. Sizzling summer cash contest each and every day at the top of the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock hour on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We play 9 through 5 on both WISN and WIBA. Time now for your daily Trump date.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
President Trump is winning, it seems, as a ceasefire between Iran and Israel appears to be holding, following President Trump's use of a 4-letter word yesterday, expressing his visible anger when leaving for The Hague. Today, meeting with the Director General of NATO, Mark Rutte. Rutte said, well, you know, it's sort of like you're the daddy and you had to scold the kids. An analogy, incidentally, that we said here on the Dan O'Donnell Show yesterday afternoon.
I mean, we may do papers on it, Marco. Maybe we're going to do papers. I don't even know if you need them. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like 2 kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes, then it's easy to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
I don't know what it is, that accent. Then Daddy have to use strong language. Made it sound way, way funnier. President Trump was actually asked about that in the press conference following the NATO summit. And Rubio in the background, his Secretary of State, was absolutely losing his you-know-what, laughing. It is a very, very funny visual clip. Of course, the big story today is the explosion in real time of media's narrative that President Trump's bombing raid on Iran's nuclear facilities did absolutely no damage. The International Atomic Energy Agency, as well as Israel's Atomic Energy Agency, both stating that the Fordo nuclear site has been rendered inoperable. Israel Atomic Energy Commission says the program was set back years. We assess that the American strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities combined with Israeli strikes on other elements of Iran's military nuclear program has set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons by many years. The achievement can continue indefinitely if Iran does not get access to nuclear material. If anybody has a vested interest in getting to the truth of what Iran's nuclear program's status actually is, it would be the Israelis. I think you can trust them. DNI, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, also said new intelligence confirms that Iran's 3 main nuclear sites are completely destroyed. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt back at home just went off on this leak.
They took bits and pieces from a leaked top secret intelligence report. And by the way, I understand the FBI is investigating who was the source of that leak because it's an illegal leak to CNN. And this is the same fake news CNN reporter who wrote the story alleging that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, which we know is one of the greatest political hoaxes this country and the American public have ever seen. And that CNN story does not change the facts. There was a total and complete obliteration of Iran's nuclear facilities. And because of the president's strike, because of the precision of our United States military and this perfectly executed mission, Iran no longer has the capability to produce a nuclear weapon as imminently as they did prior to the strike.
Now, there are those of you who I think maybe wondered whether Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was up to the job when he was first named. Let's face it, he's best known as a Fox News weekend host. A lot of people had their doubts. Ladies and gentlemen, may I suggest that Pete Hegseth just might be one of the more effective, at least communicators, as well as operational strategists that the Defense Department has ever had. He went off on the media for its reporting on this leak, which has now been thoroughly debunked. It is almost like the Trump administration, as well as international and Israeli regulators, took a bunker-busting bomb to the media's narrative that the American attack was not successful, that it didn't actually destroy Iran's nuclear facility, and why it is that the American media is so invested in this narrative that somehow Trump and America failed. You simply have to listen to this nearly 2-minute diatribe he goes on about the American news media. Take a look.
There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that drop the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
That might have been the mother of all media bombs. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He is now right up there with Rubio and Bessent in my mind for Trump administration MVP. That, ladies and gentlemen, your daily Trump date. Would you believe there was an insurrection at the United States Capitol today and nobody is talking about it?
That scene playing out moments ago. Demonstrators protesting the big, beautiful bill being arrested on Capitol Hill. The video shows protesters being removed by U.S. Capitol Police. Police have cleared the protesters out of the Capitol building. So we'll keep an eye on this just in case anything else shakes out.
Wait a second. There were arrests in the United States Capitol for protests that got out of control, possibly attacking law enforcement officers. Here's how it was covered on the website of today's TMJ4, the NBC affiliate in Milwaukee. People in wheelchairs zip-tied and escorted out of Capitol Hill office building during Medicaid cuts protest. I don't think I need to tell you that is markedly different than the coverage on January 6th. By the way, this notion that somehow old grannies are going to be and people in wheelchairs are going to be thrown off Medicaid is asinine. It is the 4.8 million able-bodied adults on Medicaid who are choosing not to work. They are childless adults, and all they need to do is work either 80 hours a week or spend some combination of those 80 hours working, looking for work, doing charitable work, volunteer work, whatever it is. Would you believe most able-bodied welfare recipients are not working? 62% of those who are able-bodied and on Medicaid, and 74% of those who get food stamps, according to the White House, do not work. All the one big beautiful bill would require is that they work 80 hours a month. Producer Eric, I think you and I have both worked 80 hours in what feels like 3 days working in radio. 80-hour weeks are reasonably common. 80 hours a week, that's it. If you are pregnant, a member of a federally designated tribe, a caregiver or parent under 19 or over 65, you are actually exempt from these work requirements, as lenient as they are. If you are medically frail, anyone who's blind, disabled, battling a chronic substance abuse disorder, or living with a serious and complex medical condition like cancer, also exempted. If you meet work requirements like if you meet work requirements for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, aka food stamps, or temporary assistance for needy families, aka welfare, also relieved of the requirements. If you're in jail, in prison, or were released from incarceration within the past 90 days, you're also exempt. This is like the bare minimum work requirement. And oh yeah, illegal aliens will no longer be eligible for emergency services Medicaid. This would affect an estimated 1.4 million illegals who would be thrown off of Medicaid, who have been getting Medicaid benefits unlawfully under the Biden administration, or potentially for even longer than that. This is all about strengthening Medicaid. But of course, as I always say, nothing more cringe than a boomer lib. The boomer libs were out in force today, staging their own little insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. All right. Do I tell the story about me breaking the law, or do I make you sit through a commercial? I'm feeling generous, even though the rules of radio would suggest that I split this up. This would be the perfect opportunity to take a break. It would be the perfect opportunity to go to commercial. I love you too much to do so. So last night, I'm taking my two boys out to dinner. We were going for sushi. My wife didn't want sushi. My daughter, I think she was asleep in our bed. We're still dealing with a little bit of jet lag from the flight. And it's about like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So they didn't feel like going out. It was the two of us and one of my older son's friends. We picked him up and we're driving down the street. I see a Milwaukee County bus totally wrapped in rainbow colors and the trans flag. And it says, "This bus is for all of us." Cute. I immediately pulled a U-turn. Bus was going in the opposite direction. I say it was an illegal U-turn because I'm fairly certain I pulled the UE from the middle lane. I raced to catch this bus. I'm going 75 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone. Why do I care so much about some stupid virtue signaling? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I happen to know that just last week, the Milwaukee County Transit System announced that it was going to have to cut routes and other services because it faces a nearly $11 million budget deficit. Starting on August 24th, MCTS will reduce fall service. An approximately 20,000-hour reduction in service levels will be in effect through the end of the year. MCTS interim president and CEO Julie Esch said, "Reducing the frequency of buses is the last thing we want to do, but it will have the least impact on our riders." They have to do this, you see, because they're just in such a budget crunch. But they do have money to pay to wrap their buses in the pride colors. I needed to take a picture of this and needed to see whether this was sponsored by an organization which would have covered the cost. And that cost, I looked it up, is, according to the website Yes Wrap, which will wrap your vehicle for a reasonable price, the cost to wrap a bus, a fully wrapped standard bus, excluding the roof, expect to spend between $8,000 and $13,000 per bus. I'm willing to guess that this was not the only gay bus that's rolling around Milwaukee County. Sure enough, there is not a sponsor for the Pride bus. So at the same time, the Milwaukee County Transit System is pleading poverty. They still have enough money to the tune of, and I guarantee they're paying on the higher end of that $8,000 to $13,000 per bus wrapping fee, because governments always manage to get the worst possible price for things. They've still got enough money to virtue signal for Pride Month. So I actually reached out to the Milwaukee County Transit System this afternoon, their media relations person, and asked a very simple question. How many buses did you wrap in the Pride colors, and how much did it cost? Because I'm fairly certain that even if the cost is, let's say they did 10 buses, $13,000 a pop, $130,000, that might not save all that many of the 20,000 routes that need to be cut this fall, but it might have saved a couple. If money is so tight that you can't provide your basic service of being a freaking bus and getting people from point A to point B, then maybe you don't have enough money in the budget to have the trans flag on the rear end of every one of your buses. And yes, I do know exactly what I said with that last phrase. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Told you it was a story worth waiting for. I did catch up with the bus, and then we had a nice dinner. It was lovely. We'll be right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Out in Waukesha County, got a stalled vehicle blocking the left shoulder, eastbound 94 past Barker. Not really causing much of a delay. Got a delay past that, though, 68th to 35th and westbound jam 25th to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
It's the summer savings event
at the Lynch family of dealerships, and the deals are heating up. Take advantage of up to $10,000 off or 0% financing to approved credit on select models. Visit shoplynch.com today.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha Fleet and Specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
This is Chuck Smith, founder of Current Electric. I want to thank Southeast Wisconsin for making us #1 in electrical service. Do you know the main reason why people use Current Electric? It's trust. People trust our superheroes that come into their homes and perform electrical service and repairs and have for over 40 years. I know there are other companies to choose from. Give our superheroes a chance to earn your trust. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com. We answer the call.
For superior carpet cleaning, hire a company with over 75 years of experience that will get the job done right the first time. Always clean, always on time. Edelman.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Eric Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what-ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Kowal Investor Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
Never again, I vowed after suffering through a 4-day winter power outage. I went out and bought a Generac home standby generator. If you're ready too, Generator Supercenter is the #1 Generac dealer in the nation. They're now here in Wisconsin. They sell, install, maintain, and monitor that system for you, and they'll give you a free estimate. They're the ones to call because they can certify and warranty their work when others who do these installs as a side job often can't. Why sit and shiver in the dark? Call 262-622-6220. That's 262-622-6220 or Generator Supercenter of LakeCountry.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
So you see, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I will do to get the story for you. I also wanted to see, I wanted to, you know how like every expectant dad who's racing down the highway when his wife's about to give birth, secretly hopes that he's going to get pulled over. And the cop says, "Hey, buddy, what's the emergency?" "My wife, she's about to give birth." And then you get the police escort. I wanted to get pulled over. I said, "Hey, buddy, where are you going so fast?" "Well, sir, I need to catch up with the gay pride bus because I want to see how much Milwaukee County is wasting of our taxpayer dollars." If I know most cops, he would have given me a police escort to say, "Yeah, Dan, you go bust them out, embarrass them." Do have a quick correction. Apparently, I was saying in this Medicaid work requirement, I kept saying 80 hours per week. It's obviously 80 hours per month. 80 hours per month. I don't know why I got 80 hours a week in my head. I'm going to blame the jet lag, which is going to be what I blame every time I make a mistake until like the 4th of July next week. So just get used to it, folks. It's coming. Big article in the Capital Times. Growing up transgender in Dane County, families welcome protections. Big piece by Aaron McGroarty. And it's all about trans kids. One of them's kind of hilarious. And I'm not going to make fun of the trans 9th grader who paints, participates in theater, and gets good grades. His name is Charlie Werner. As a reward for perfect school attendance this semester, Charlie earned a movie day at the theater. The class saw the rerun of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which the 14-year-old called vintage, a phrase that pained his Gen X parents. Me too, Charlie's parents. Me too. Then I realized it's 20 years old this year, and I feel even older. In English class at Malcolm Shabazz City High School, Charlie is reading Fahrenheit 451. He said he's concerned about the direction the country is going with regard to controlling information, and darkly joked that the novel in which the government outlaws all books might be nonfiction one day. Now, here's the irony of this. Charlie is a good little lib who has even testified on behalf of bills at the state legislature, but God bless him, he doesn't realize that it's the Democrats that he supports who have been actually banning books. Why? Because they might say the N-word. Charlie, do me a favor, look up Huckleberry Finn and what's the one with Atticus Finch, To Kill a Mockingbird, and how many times those books have been banned because people at schools like Malcolm Shabazz don't think you can say the N-word or even read it. That's a funny story. The one that they get to last is not. Miley thinks every girl deserves to shine. 12-year-old Miley is earlier on that journey, but still shows a level of self-actualization sometimes missing from adults. Miley, a pseudonym, uses she, her, and they, them pronouns and describes themself as girl flux, which they confidently explain means their gender identity floats between identifying as a girl sometimes and as non-binary other times. Miley's family chose to keep their names private because they are worried about their safety. Even in a welcoming community like Madison, Miley's mother, April, also a pseudonym, said she is scared for her child. The Trump administration's policies against the transgender community only heighten those fears, she said. I was surprised by the day one executive order with really, really hateful language. So that made me very afraid, worried, and I think also some grief as well, April said. Grief that her child will grow up in a country where they feel unwelcome. Here's where things take a really dark turn. Miley transitioned between age 3 and 4. Ever since, April and her husband sought to shield Miley from the hateful rhetoric against LGBTQ plus people that has become more prevalent in politics in recent years. But after the 2024 election, the family began to talk more candidly about what a second Trump term might mean for Miley. conversations about how to build resilience, April said, but also conversations about how there may be situations where, like, it's not safe to be openly trans anymore because Miley has always been really open about being trans. Earlier this year, April and Miley took a self-defense class together. The family also got another dog for emotional support. Miley snuggles with the miniature schnauzer on the back porch of the family's East Madison home while reflecting on how the current political climate makes them feel. Those things from the president's office, they feel hurtful and targeted, the 12-year-old said. I think it's unfair and people should be treated better. How sadly ironic. Miley, you should have been treated better by your parents. What this kid went through is straight up child abuse. And I have absolutely no problem saying that on the biggest radio show in Madison. None. The process of helping Miley feel comfortable and confident in their identity has not always been easy. April remembers when Miley first told her they wanted to die and come back as a girl. Other moments in Miley's transition were filled with joy, like the discovery of a pink dress that a cousin had forgotten after a visit. April remembered how excited Miley was to wear it at 3, folks, at 3. From a young age, we took Miley to a psychologist because we wanted to support her, but we needed some guidance, April said. She remembers the therapist telling her that if Miley was consistent, insistent, and persistent, then it was a clearer sign that her child's gender identity journey was not a phase. Miley nervously adjusted their sandals as they remembered looking at themselves in a mirror and wishing they had a different body. Miley wore a pink t-shirt that reads, "Every girl deserves to shine." They have pink earrings in the shape of hearts and wore a bracelet with blue, white, and pink plastic beads, the colors of the trans pride flag. I want to look like a woman, they said. Miley's gender-affirming care currently entails taking puberty blockers, but the family has been having conversations about Miley beginning hormone replacement therapy as they get older. This type of care has been the target of state and federal proposals that would ban minors from receiving gender-affirming care and make it a crime for doctors to provide such treatment. In the face of such uncertainty, Miley's parents are grateful for Madison's network of resources for families like theirs. April is part of a support group for parents of transgender children. The family attends group therapy. Miley receives gender-affirming care at UW Health's Path Clinic for Pediatric Gender Identity, and the family recently switched churches so that their spiritual community was more welcoming of Miley. Psychologist is saying the 3-year-old should transition because they saw the cousin's dress and wanted to wear it. At 12, this child is taking puberty blood. This is irreversible stuff. At 12. I reading this got just a pit in my stomach. They want anonymity because they're worried about transphobes like me. No, they're worried because they know, deep down, they know this is serious stuff to do to a little boy. This is seriously harmful. And you want to know why so many members, especially younger members of the transgender community, take their own lives and have such serious, deep-seated psychological problems? It's because from a very young age, people like these parents, people like the truly twisted doctors at the UW Health Path Clinic for Pediatric Gender Identity, the psychologists who are treating this child, all they ever focus on is the gender issue. And they make it like a panacea. They make it like this is going to solve all your problems. You were just born in the wrong body. You're the wrong gender. If you just change your gender identity, that will bring you happiness. And then it doesn't, because they have never treated the underlying, just deep-seated self-loathing that this brings. You're not happy with the most basic element of who you are, your gender. You mutilate yourself. Mutilate. Eventually, what's going to happen? This child is going to cut off his male organ in this vain quest to be normal, all with the parents clapping along. You know what proved to me how asinine this is? Charlize Theron, the actress, has something like 3 trans kids. What the hell are the odds of that when the general population is 0.1% that suffers from true gender identity disorder? Oh, you're not allowed to call it a disorder anymore. It's perfectly normal. Let's shoot the 12-year-old full of puberty blockers. And what does the care ultimately result in? Care. This child has been so cared for from the age of 3. So they can't make decisions like that. What did Bill Maher famously say? When I was 3 years old, I wanted to be a pirate. Thank God my parents didn't give me the hook hand and peg leg surgeries. It's a dangerous game these people are playing. And my heart breaks for this child because I have seen this same damn story over and over and over again, and it never seems to end well. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Sometimes it's a tough truth, but this will always be a tour de force of the truth.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
22 minutes northbound 4145 from the zoo up to Good Hope, jam to Hampton, southbound delays starting at Appleton, clearing up south of Capitol, back down to the zoo interchange, taking you 20 minutes. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the International Hot Rod Association.
The International Hot Rod Association Outline Nitro Series is back. 5 events, 4 locations. 1 explosive season. Funny cars, promos. You are in the stands. Get your tickets now at ihra.com. That's ihra.com.
I'm Mark Belling, and my podcast is here, and I'm tackling the world. You can find me on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. Type Mark Belling Podcast in the search and hang on for the ride.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline Shipping and Industrial Supplies. Ship same day for fast delivery. Visit uline.com. Also supported by Charisma Customs. You can get the Mark Belling Podcast right now at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year. More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024. It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards. It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare. Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case. Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com. That's Warshawski.com.
We're the Libby family.
At Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
Bathrooms and kitchens are our specialty. We use real wood cabinets and quartz tops to make beautiful rooms you will love for many, many years.
And our experts really know their stuff.
Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Catering to all who appreciate quality installation, a great value, and the finest windows and doors. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Jay here, feeling a little silly that I'm finding joy in my new Comer & Cross garage floor. but I am. It was so stained and pitted that it made my entire garage ugly, even after I'd repainted. Now I show it off to guests. A new Comer and Cross floor really can transform your garage in just a single day, and right now you can get $750 off of their already low price. They make it so easy. Comer and Cross techs will take the stuff out of your garage for you, then fix the cracks and pitting perfectly before applying your gleaming new floor in a 6-step process that has become the gold standard. A Comer and Cross floor is guaranteed never to chip, crack, or show tire lift ever, unlike an epoxy or paint job. This is a restored floor done right. All of their installers are uniformed pros, no freelancers, big difference. Call Comer and Cross now for a quick and easy estimate. It takes $750 off of their already low price. Right now, 262-788-6430. That's 262-788-6430, or go to comercross.com.
Blue Mountain Express.
This is Rick Vanderboom with Blue Mountain Express Moving and Storage, and we'll improve your move.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Blue Mountain Express Moving and Storage, statewide.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The two main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the two areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
From iHeart Podcast. Before social media, before cable news, there was Alan Berg.
He was the first and the original shock jock.
That scratchy, irreverent kind of way of talking to people and telling them that you're an idiot and I'm going to hang up on you.
This is Live Wire, the loud life and shocking murder of Alan Berg.
And he pointed to the Denver phone book and said, well, there are probably 2 million suspects.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Live Wire, and listen now.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
I don't even know what to say. This big story on the Capital Times website, I would assume in today's Capital Times physical version, which I think 17 people now get, is all about trans youth and supposed to be a hit piece on the Trump administration's anti-trans, transphobic policies, but actually highlights how necessary they are. A transgender 12-year-old by the name of Miley, it's a pseudonym, and his, her, they, their mother, April, who from the age of 3 began transitioning Miley from a boy to a girl. Now they're 12, and they're on puberty blockers. Now, so convinced is Miley, according to this story, that she is a girl, not a boy, that she is gender fluid. Sometimes she feels like a girl, but sometimes she feels non-binary, you see. But remember, this is something that we have to block the onset of puberty for. So even if Miley eventually decides that she is a he and he wants to live as a man, he will have never gone through puberty. He will have the same voice, that kind of comically half high, half low voice that tweens have when they're just starting to go through puberty. It's sort of like, hey, Dad, hey, buddy, what happened to your voice? This is my voice. It's going to be like that forever. No sexual maturity, no ability to perform as a quote unquote man. Even if, let's say, they're perfectly happy as a girl. The sheer amount of just physical mutilation that they will go through. I mean, I don't even know if I can describe what the surgery actually is on a family-friendly radio show. Truly. The male to female transition and how you get a, shall we say, female body part, it's disgusting. It's honest to goodness. What they apparently never tell you about is the smell. It apparently always smells like feces. Do you know that? You do now. Is that the end game for this kid? Is this what we're supposed to be celebrating? Man, oh man. Tell you, I need a palate cleanse after that story because, my God. How about we do something uplifting? How about a local hero who just set a world record? Time now for the hero of the day, brought to you by Blue Line Cleaning, residential and commercial cleaning done by professionals. Today's unsung hero of the day is Rochelle Mason. She is a 53-year-old mom from Muskego who broke the world record for abdominal plank at the Princeton Club in New Berlin, surpassing the previous record by 9 seconds. Now, how did she start on her world record journey? According to Channel 12, she said, I did 16 minutes. How long can I go? Initially, she thought it's crazy to try to break a world record, but she did. Any guesses as to what the world record is? It's a lot longer than 16 minutes. 4 hours, 30 minutes, and 20 seconds. She held an abdominal plank. For those unfamiliar, you go on your elbows and your toes, and it's just torture for your abs. 4 hours, 30 minutes, and 20 seconds, surpassing the previous record of 4 hours, 30 minutes, and 11 seconds. That is 1.5 of my show. Oh my goodness. I don't even think I could do a segment in a plank. I'm not even sure I could do a commercial break. Well, we have long commercial breaks on this show, so cut me some slack on that one. Her initial goal was 5 hours. She said, my left arm was giving out. It was numb after 3 hours, so that last push, I couldn't feel it. She couldn't feel her left arm for an hour and a half. She said, I wasn't going to give up that last 10 minutes. You wanted to do 5, but I'm glad I got to where I did. Organizers stated that Guinness will review the video before officially naming Mason as the new world record holder. I'll tell you what, she is absolutely a world record holder in my eyes, and that's why Rochelle Mason is your unsung hero of the day. How long do you think, seriously, you could hold a plank, producer Eric? 5 minutes, you think? You've done 5 before. I honestly don't. I usually do about like a minute and a half, but it's in between crunches. Then I'll do push-up. I'll do like 15, 20 push-ups and then a minute plank and then 15, 20 push-ups, another minute plank. I've never really tried I guarantee I could not. I don't think I could get to 10 minutes. I really don't. And I'm pretty in shape for a 43-year-old. She is 53 years old and 4.5 hours. That's like superhuman. I am seriously in awe of Rochelle Mason, one of the most impressive unsung heroes that we have done thus far. Coming up on the Dan O'Donnell Show is Demographics, Wisconsin's Destiny. Outward migration from the state could potentially make it even bluer than it already is. We will do a deep dive into that you are not going to want to miss. It's coming up next, right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound 43, a mess all the way in from Hampton, taking 45 minutes from Brown Deer to the Marquette. Northbound is a half hour with delays to Keefe. A little under a half hour, 41-45 northbound between the Zoo and Good Hope. Delays clear after Hampton. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Get unbeatable appliance savings and fast delivery on top brands like Electrolux, Frigidaire, and more during the red, white, and blue sale at Grand Appliance. Learn more at grandappliance.com or your local Grand showroom. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance experts since 1930.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Inet's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message, different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Inet to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing Backed by Auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Inet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Inet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Inet is improving the economy one business at a time.
InetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
There are only a handful of carpet cleaning companies in the country who guarantee results, and we're one of them. It's no wonder why we're Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
I'm Patty from Prospect Hill.
Prospect Hill is a destination garden center. People from across southeastern Wisconsin come for our superior variety of Wisconsin-grown, climate-acclimated perennials.
Mike's right. Think about it. If you invest in perennial happiness with flowers, shrubs, and trees, don't you want the best, most beautiful, healthy plants and nursery stock?
Unlike hardware stores or chain garden centers, Prospect Hill grows plants. Grown right here in New Berlin, our perennials are hardier and healthier.
Because we are the grower, there is no middleman driving up the price. Our superior plants cost less at Prospect Hill. Our trees, shrubs, and perennial flowers bring a lifetime of happiness.
Even the soil we use, a proprietary mix of beneficial ingredients and mycorrhizae, help perennials start stronger, larger, and prettier in this climate.
Your yard will be a slice of paradise. Make every normal day abnormally beautiful with Prospect Hill, National Avenue and Racine Avenue in New Berlin. Bloomsite.com.
Mike Wood here from Callan. It's the Red, White, and Huge Savings One-Day Sale, Saturday, June 28th, only at Callan. Bring your window and patio door measurements, see a live demo of Infinity from Marvin Windows and Doors, and get the best pricing of the year. Just for meeting with us, you'll walk away with a free Yeti tumbler. And when you place an order during the event, you'll receive 20% off your next order at Bayview Shade and Blind and be entered to win a Solo Stove Fire Pit. One day only, Saturday, June 28th at the Callan Design Center. CallanOneDaySale.com.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Right now is the best time ever to buy a vehicle, and the Russ Darrow Group is leading the way. Don't wait for prices to rise. Get the best value and selection before they're gone. Drive today, save tomorrow. Visit russdarrow.com now.
There's only one store that gives you every possible choice in diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Did you know that every 65 seconds, someone in the U.S. is developing Alzheimer's disease and 1 in 3 seniors are dying of it or another dementia? University of Wisconsin-Madison researchers are trying to improve the lives of people affected with innovative treatments, early diagnosis, and comprehensive support for families and caregivers. Together, we can improve lives and build a future with Alzheimer's disease in Wisconsin and beyond. Visit goalsforacure.org.
Offering one of the strongest lineups of talk show hosts in the history of local radio. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN. Listen to Clay and Buck, weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon, I'm Sean Maloney. Israel today reported one of its deadliest days in Gaza in months as its military said 7 soldiers were killed when a Palestinian attacker attached a bomb to their armored vehicle. A unanimous state Supreme Court rejection of a controversial Tony Evers veto. The court found the legislature's Republican-controlled Joint Finance Committee acted appropriately last year in refusing to release nearly $50 million from the Department of Public Instruction. The court found Democratic Governor Evers exceeded his authority by partially vetoing the bill, even though it didn't include an appropriation. Police in Janesville say a 4th person shot at an apartment building last Tuesday has died. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, Brewers rookie pitcher Jacob Mizorowski struck out 8 as the Brewers beat the Pirates 4-2 this afternoon. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Sean Maloney on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Scattered thunderstorms tonight with areas of fog near the lake. Temperatures dropping through the 60s. More on and off scattered thunderstorms on Thursday. Hot and humid with a high of 88. Dropping near the lake late in the day. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Club Car Wash and ClubCarWash.com.
$10 a month gets you the cleanest car in Sussex. Club Car Wash is open on Executive Drive across from Meyer on Lisbon. And right now you can get an unlimited membership for $10 a month for 3 months. For more details, visit in-store or online at ClubCarWash.com.
Join the club.
Summer has finally arrived. Have you been thinking about a new patio to entertain family and friends this summer? Perhaps a pergola or a pavilion to create that shady retreat you've always wanted. Maybe it's time to trade in that old grill for a custom outdoor kitchen. This is Eric Weishar, president of Breckenridge Landscape. If you are ready to take your landscaping to the next level, let the designers and expert craftsmen at Breckenridge Landscape make your outdoor space the envy of the neighborhood. Send us a message at BreckenridgeLandscape.com and let us help you make the most of your summer.
When people think sleep apnea, they think CPAP. Now at Advent, we do all we can to help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine. And most sleep apnea sufferers who come to Advent are going to be able to avoid a CPAP altogether. Our unique Advent approach using simple in-office solutions can get your nose working and throat open all under one roof. You see, the root of every snoring and obstructive sleep apnea problem lies within the throat, nose, or both. At Advent, we know when we get the nose and throat working properly, most snoring and sleep apnea problems will subside. And we have the most simple and convenient, ultra-effective in-office solutions that can do just that. And this is why people have traveled by planes, trains, and automobiles from corners of the world you would never think of to find the sleep apnea and snoring relief you won't find elsewhere.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to entertainment centers. Our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at ManderCollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
The riveting podcast, What Happened to Talina Czar, unravels the chilling mystery surrounding a woman's disappearance during the COVID-19 lockdown, the internet sleuths who wouldn't let it go, and the dark subcultures and betrayals they unearthed.
There were a lot of secrets that were very hard to find.
Listen to What Happened to Talina Czar on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow What Happened to Talina Czar and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm certified financial planner professional Aaron Spitzner with your closing business report. The major averages were mixed today with the S&P 500 back near record highs as investors kept a close eye on the truce between Israel and Iran. Nearly 4% to its first record close since January, as investors gain confidence that the company's leadership in AI won't be dampened by Chinese export controls. NVIDIA is now worth $3.8 trillion, making it the largest company in the world by market cap. On the day, the Dow was down 106 points, the S&P 500 was even, and the NASDAQ was up 61 points. From the Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, I'm Aaron Spitzner.
Don't look now, but the Milwaukee Brewers have a budding megastar in the Miz. Jacob Mizorowski is, wow, an absolute beast. He set the record, of course, for the most no-hit innings to start a major league career. His first couple of starts, the hat he wore, it's already in Cooperstown. Kid's just 23 years old, and this afternoon he outdueled fellow 23-year-old flamethrower Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Skeens was the unquestioned Rookie of the Year last year. He's considered easily the up-and-coming pitching superstar. Mizorowski outdueled him in every way this afternoon at American Family Field. The Brewers have won 6 of their last 7 games following a 4-2 victory this afternoon. It was quite the duel, although the Brewers did get to Skeens early, tagging him for all 4 runs that they would get in the bottom of the second, and they chased him early. It was the second shortest outing of his career. But the real story here was Mizorowski. Skeens lasted just 4 innings. He struck out 4 and allowed 4 runs, 4 hits, and 2 walks. The biggest story for Mizorowski, he actually allowed a hit. 2 of them, in fact, 5 innings he goes through. Are you ready for this? Throws 74 pitches. He reached at least 100 miles an hour on 19 of them. He hit a career high of 102.4, And on his fastball, according to Sport Radar, this from ESPN.com, Mizorowski averaged 99.5 miles an hour. Skeens averaged 98.5. That is the highest combined fastball velocity by two starting pitchers in the same game since at least 2009. Perhaps even more impressive than that is the fact that someone has actually been paying attention to be able to come up with that stat. Mizorowski was tremendous. He struck out 8, allowed just 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 shutout innings. Trevor McGill gets the save, his 18th. He has been a revelation for the Crew as well. Through his first 3 career starts, Mizorowski owns a 3-0 record, a 1.13 ERA. He struck out 19 while allowing only 3 hits and 7 walks over 16 innings. He is the first pitcher since 1900 with as many or more wins as hits allowed over his first 3 major league appearances, according to ESPN research. Every 5 days, this kid is absolute must-see TV. You have got to get out to the ballpark. I am now, don't be surprised if Brewers ticket prices go up when he pitches. He's that good, folks. As good as advertised. He was by far, for the past year or two, he was by far the Brewers' best pitching prospect and considered one of the top pitching prospects in all of Major League Baseball. This is why. He is exactly what this team needed. I was actually terrified. He actually had to leave his first career start. He was throwing a no-hitter, and he had to leave in the 5th because he twisted his ankle very badly, and it looked a lot worse. I actually made a joke that people gave me grief for. I'm like, this is the most Brewers thing ever. This kid pitches 5 no-hit innings in his first career start and then destroys his ankle walking back to the mound. It looked really bad, but I mean, 23-year-olds are basically made of rubber. Remember when we all thought that Giannis had torn his ACL and his career was in jeopardy against the Atlanta Hawks? He comes back like 2.5 weeks later, perfectly fine, and destroys the Suns as the Bucks win their first NBA championship in 50 years. I still think the Brewers are probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a 500 team, but this kid is just fun to watch. He is going to be, Mark Atanasio got in a whole lot. If you thought I got some grief for a tweet about Jacob Mizorowski's ankle, Atanasio got in a whole lot of trouble for saying, well, what is the point? What is the purpose of a Major League Baseball team? Is it to win games, or is it to give fans an entertaining experience on a sunny Sunday afternoon in summer? To which everybody replied, it's to win baseball games, you idiot. That brings people entertainment. I don't feel very entertained when the Brewers are losing. Look, I grew up in Milwaukee in the 90s, okay? After 1992, when the Brewers almost, and I mean, they won something like 91, 92 games. They won 92 games in 92. And they just barely missed out on the playoffs. This was in the era before the wild card. And this was what, in fact, convinced Bud Selig there needed to be a change. It couldn't just be the Eastern Division and Western Division champions go to the playoffs. You needed to have an expanded playoff because there were real good teams that were missing the playoffs. After that, the Phil Scrap Iron Garner era. Do you remember the MB logo era Brewers, where the best player was Greg Vaughn and Vaughn's Valley over at County Stadium? There were some lean years for the Brewers. The old Jeff Cirillo days. Cirillo, I hear, is a really nice guy. Greg Vaughn, I loved Greg Vaughn when I was a kid. I'm not saying this to make fun of them. I'm saying that it was tough. It was tough to be a Brewers fan. Tough to be a Bucks fan throughout the night. Thank God for Brett Favre and Reggie White and the Packers. But when Atanasio said, well, what is the point of a baseball team? if you're going to be mediocre, at least have yourself a Jacob Mizorowski and Paul Skeens to be entertained. Do you realize Skeens, as good as he is, he has something like a 2.13 ERA. The Pirates are so bad that he's got a sub 500 record because they can't generate any offense when he's pitching. What okay, I knew you were. I've only been working with Eric for a month and a half. And he's got his hand on the button like he wants to talk. He's got what's called a talk back button where he can talk to me. You can't hear him because, frankly, people wonder, well, why don't you allow the producers to talk on the air? Honestly, we don't have a light, so I don't know when Eric would be on the air, when he's just talking to me. And it's less confusing for me this way. As soon as you reach for that button, he's like waiting to chime in. I'm like, I guarantee, I'm thinking of this in my head, I guarantee it's going to be something about Livy Dunn. I guarantee, and sure enough, he said, I just wonder if Livy Dunn was in attendance. She is the very attractive former college gymnast who now makes her money as a Instagram influencer. She makes her money by being a hot 22-year-old girl is what she does. Salud. Good for you. She's the face of about 20 different brands. Great work if you can get it. I mean, seems to be a nice enough, cool enough young lady. Obviously a good athlete. Where was she? Went to LSU? Was that it? Yeah. She was happy when you got the NIL endorsements. Oh yeah, when she was allowed to make money, it's like, oh, I can get paid being a college athlete. Great, here's $12 million from L'Oreal, right? She's a model. I mean, she's a very, talented model. I don't know, and of course, Horn Dog in there wants to jump in with his Livy Dunn. She's dating Paul Skeens. That's why Skeens is dating Livy Dunn. Paul Skeens is also credited with almost single-handedly bringing back the mustache on guys. Like my dad, growing up in the 80s, my dad had a mustache. He sort of looked like Freddie Mercury. All right? Like all dudes with mustaches in the 80s kind of, I'm not saying anything about, just they kind of look like Freddie Mercury. Well, the mustache is back. That little caterpillar mustache is back because of Paul Skeens. I think Mizorowski might be better. I know it's early. I always caution people against making snap judgments in baseball because there's such a large sample size. Regression to the mean is a real thing. That Mizorowski might be amazing now, but is he able to sustain it over a 162-game season? Is he going to be able to sustain it over 26, 27 starts? The thing about a lot of these flamethrowers is their arms blow out very quickly. And I could do a massive dissertation on that in a larger discussion about the plague that is youth sports, especially travel ball. I was talking to my buddies, or my son's buddies on the baseball team, and they finished their high school season immediately. And I mean, immediately after, they have to go out and play travel ball, some tournament in Kansas City or something. These kids are throwing how many pitches per? I know there are pitch counts. I know they can't go over certain, but when you're playing in 75 games a year as an 11-year-old, your arm only has, I forget who it was that said it, your arm only has so many pitches in it before it just goes. Well, what's happening is why you would have guys, why Nolan Ryan could pitch well into his 40s is because he wasn't pitching 75 games as an 11-year-old. Baseball season ended. He was probably off playing, tight end on the football team. In the winter, he wasn't doing mound sessions at a converted warehouse. He was playing basketball. He only played baseball in the spring. Specialization and this win at all costs. I mean, Kids aren't the problem with kids sports. Adults are the problem with kids sports. It's like this. I swear 95% of it is dads who are just reliving their own failed dreams through their kids. And the other adults who are preying on that by saying, oh, yes, your kid can get select level coaching for the low price of $4,000 per year. You've got kids having Tommy John surgery at 15. At 15. That was unheard of. They're teaching them curveballs at age 8, which is the worst thing you can possibly do. And my sport, soccer, is just as bad. Do you realize the top level soccer leagues for like 12-year-olds, your league games, not tournament games, your league games, it's called NAL or National League, will be one in Chicago, one in Dallas, one in, Raleigh, North Carolina, another in Phoenix. Every weekend. It's I don't know. I say make rec league great again. When I was a kid, and I know I'm going to sound like a dinosaur. When I was a kid, man. But it was like, do you really get that much better by playing a kid? And the worst is you go out of your area for a tournament. You see the same damn team that you play every other week from your local league also there. When it all changed, I can actually pinpoint when it all changed. It's been written about. There have been scholarly articles about this. I can actually pinpoint. Masters weekend, 1997. Tiger Woods, 21 years old, wins the Masters. For the next week, all you saw on SportsCenter, on the late night shows, was a 3-year-old Tiger hitting golf shots on the Mike Douglas show with his dad Earl watching in like 1974 or whatever the hell it was. Every parent was convinced, okay, If I want fame and athletic fortune for my kid, I got to start him at age 3 doing nothing but playing golf. Tiger Woods succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Do you know he's now dating a Trump? Tiger is perhaps next. A secret little known fact about Tiger, hardcore Republican. He is a conservative Republican, always has been. Like 90% of the PGA Tour is conservative Republicans. Weirdly enough, in sports, NFL quarterbacks and golfers, you would expect. NFL quarterbacks for a long time, and I think still to this day, trend real right wing. Like Patrick Mahomes, Brittany Mahomes is totally MAGA. I mean, that's why everybody hates her now. And supposedly that's why she had a falling out with Taylor Swift. But like every golfer you grew up watching is a rabid right winger. And like every quarterback I grew up, Favre, obviously, John Elway, Steve Young, Joe Montana, I think is a big right winger. I'm trying to think who else. Phil Simms, Boomer Esiason, just every one of them. And still to this day, for whatever reason, they just trend more right wing. Now that makes up, Eric, for your ridiculous non sequitur with Livy Dunn. He said it's because they have to lead and be responsible. But everybody sees now what's going to happen is the Tiger Woods effect. Everyone's going to see Jacob Mizorowski, 23 years old, throwing 100-mile-an-hour gas. Guarantee this kid was playing year-round baseball. What's he from, Missouri? He's playing year-round baseball from the time he's probably 7 or 8 years old. And I'm not going to deny that that's what you have to do to succeed in athletics. I don't think for the 99.99% of kids who aren't going to play professionally, I just don't think it's the right thing. All right, we got way sidetracked. I didn't even get to. It was amazing watching him. I had it on in my office and was just so thoroughly entertained watching that young man pitch. I have become a massive Jacob Mizorowski fan, as I'm sure all of Milwaukee has been. Now, I'm going to just check the texts, and there are going to be like 15 saying, why don't you stick to the issues? Why are you talking about? Well, because this, I think we're at the beginning stages of seeing something special. I really do in Mizorowski. Don't worry, I'll have my big in-depth analysis of demographics as destiny coming up after this sizzling summer cash contest time. Word of the hour is bank, B-A-N-K, bank. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword bank. Your entry is picked at random. You, dear sir or madam, have just won $1,000. Could Wisconsin be inevitably turning more bluer? We'll discuss next.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Westbound on 94, almost an hour out to Moreland Road. It's a pretty solid most of the way from the Marquette interchange. Northbound on 43, a little over a half hour to Brown Deer. Northbound 4145 from the Zoo to Good Hope is a half hour. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
It's the summer savings event at the Lynch family of dealerships, and the deals are heating up. Take advantage of up to $10,000 off or 0% financing to approved credit on select models. Visit shoplynch.com today.
Our Heart Radio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeart Radio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Do you know what the scariest sound to hear on a factory floor is? Silence. That means something somewhere broke. Production has stopped, and now you're paying your workers to wait while the team troubleshoots and tries to fix the problem. Finally, there's a proactive way to reduce equipment downtime, thanks to MaintainX. MaintainX is the asset management system that brings your maintenance downtime to zero. MaintainX lets you build preventative maintenance schedules, manage work orders in real time, and access the data you need to make better decisions. Downtime equals death in the production world, so make unplanned downtime a thing of the past. Try MaintainX for free. Control the daily operations of your business and transform your maintenance program by going to maintainx.com. That's maintain in the letter X.com.
When I decided to remodel my kitchen, it was important to see more than just designs and drawings. Wisconsin Kitchen Mart made it easy, with more fully built kitchen displays than anywhere else. The showroom made all the difference when making important design decisions. Along with their talented team of designers, decorators, and installers, my dream kitchen came to life.
For almost 75 years, our team at Wisconsin Kitchen Mart has created kitchen and bathroom remodels that set us apart from the rest. We understand that your kitchen must be a well-oiled machine so you enjoy using it. And don't forget, bathrooms too. That's why we offer quality design that incorporates the existing space in your home to enhance the style. Come see our full displays in our 18,000 square foot showroom, and with our wide selection of flooring, Play-Doh custom cabinetry, appliances, and countertops, you can get everything you need in one place. Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart. Visit wisconsinkitchenmart.com for more information and a free consultation.
Redefine Realty kicked off our Crave Genius inspired campaign with iNet. Real estate for winners, redefinerealty.com.
Every home seller will win, achieving maximum sale price, and every buyer can win by simply outbidding competitive bids. Simply brilliant.
Marketing for winners, creativegeniusmarketing.com.
Our most recent multi-generational home was awarded the Badger Craftsman Award for Best Custom Home in Wisconsin. If you're thinking about building a multi-generational home that can house your family and your aging parents, look to Bellman Homes.
Bellman Homes.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Lost in the debate over the future of Republican Party Chairman Brian Schimming is an even more uncomfortable reality than an incompetent GOP. And that's a steadily changing electorate that's turning the state bluer with each passing election. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. I did a deep dive into the demographics, inward and outward migration of Wisconsin that I think doesn't necessarily paint a dire picture for the GOP, but certainly a challenging one. Republicans dominated statewide elections in the Scott Walker era. They won everything there was to win. However, they haven't won a whole lot since. They've won just 4 statewide elections since November of 2017. President Trump this past November, Senator Ron Johnson and State Treasurer John Leiber in 2022, and State Supreme Court Justice Brian Hagedorn in 2019. Given his record, we'll count that as a half win. Now, Wisconsin's Republican Party has taken a whole lot of blame for this, and with good reason. Their fundraising is pretty abysmal. Candidate selection has been not great. Overall strategy, get out the vote effort, voter contacts, the infighting between the traditionalists and the Turning Point crowd has been just nauseating to watch, frankly, from both sides. But I think the bigger issue for Republicans here is demographic shifts. From 2010 to 2020, Wisconsin saw massive outward migration, more so than at any point in the previous century. The reliably conservative Walker coalition in Milwaukee County and the surrounding WOW counties, Waukesha, Ozaukee, Washington, they reached retirement age and they left for sunnier skies down south. But something changed. They weren't traditional snowbirds keeping their Wisconsin residency and just going to Florida for 3 months right after Christmas and then coming back for Easter and staying. They were establishing residency in states like Texas and Florida and Nevada. Why? None of those 3 states have a state income tax. You'd be stupid not to establish residency. If you've got a place in a no income tax state, you can save thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars per year simply by staying there for 6 years or 6 months and 1 day or whatever the requirement is to establish residency, and then coming back to Wisconsin from May through October. Now, the other thing those states have that Wisconsin doesn't is a much more favorable wintertime climate. As a result, they're ideal retirement destinations, and people from all over the country have figured it out. Florida and Texas are not just the two largest Republican states. They're also the states with by far the biggest inward migration in the country. So much so that after the next census in 2030, both are expected to gain 4 congressional seats each. 4 seats in Texas, 4 seats in Florida. That's a massive advantage for Republicans. Not to mention the Electoral College advantage. They gain 8 electoral votes instantly. Conversely, the 3 largest Democrat states, California, New York, and Illinois, they're going to lose 3 seats, 2 seats, and 1 seat respectively. California loses 3, New York loses 2, Illinois loses 1. This is part of a broad national trend. Americans are voting with their feet. They're fleeing high taxes, inefficient or truly insane government in liberal states for the greener pastures of red states. Every single one of the states projected to lose seats in the next redistricting are blue ones. California, New York, Illinois, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Oregon, and Rhode Island. Every state projected to gain a seat is a red one. Texas, Florida, Idaho, Utah, Arizona. Now, Wisconsin is, believe it or not, actually gaining population. Guess how? Illegal immigration. From mid-2023 to mid-2024, the state gained 22,146 residents through, quote, international migration. That's a quaint little euphemism, isn't it? Only 6,300 people were Americans coming from other states. Now, the vast majority of the people coming into the state are not eligible to vote, for now at least. But those who are have overwhelmingly moved into Wisconsin's most liberal areas. Dane County's population has grown by 2.5% since 2020. That's an estimated 13,000 people. That number is only expected to rise even as over the next 2 decades, Wisconsin's population declines. State's Department of Administration estimates that over the next 25 years, the state will lose, ready for this, roughly 200,000 residents, but Dane County's population will increase by a whopping 38%. That'll make it an even bigger factor in statewide elections than it already is, and it's almost certainly going to turn Wisconsin bluer than it's already turned. As Wisconsin turns bluer, even more liberal leadership will lead to even more outward migration. Conservatives have had enough with California. Even liberals have had enough with California. They're leaving. First 2 censuses, 2020 and 2030, California is losing population. First time in the state's history. California was the magnet, the go-to place for people to move since the 1840s gold rush. That's all changed. Why? Liberal leadership. It's a vicious cycle. You get liberal leaders, smarter voters, aka conservatives, those with more money and more ability to move, generally conservatives, they will move. That makes the states they left even more liberal. Even more people, as the states get more liberal, as they get more unglued in the policies that they enact, even more people leave. See how this works? Wisconsin's not immune. Now, this isn't to say that all hope is lost. Trump did win a big victory in Wisconsin in 2024, but this is the reality that Wisconsin conservatives must face. Either evolve and adapt to dramatically shifting voter demographics or be crushed by them. If you want to read some of those stats that I laid out, brand new column, McIverInstitute.com. It is up on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram at Dan O'Donnell Show on all of these. Please do give the column a read. Please do give it a share, a like, a repost, whatever it is. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back in just a second.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Traveling eastbound on 94 in Waukesha County, stay off to the left as you approach Highway 16. There's a crash there blocking the right lane. Westbound delays on 94, solid from the Marquette all the way out through Moreland and beyond. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Club Car Wash and ClubCarWash.com.
$10 a month gets you the cleanest car in Sussex. Club Car Wash is open on Executive Drive across from Meyer on Lisbon. And right now, you can get an unlimited membership for $10 a month for 3 months. For more details, visit in-store or online at ClubCarWash.com.
Join the club.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We needed to sell Mom's home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
No showings, no closing costs, no staging, no real estate agent fees, no added stress.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now's the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
I guess one of the biggest sacrifices that I think we made starting Penny Mustard was personal time.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Yeah, we just lived, ate, and breathed work all the time for years. Yep. And moving from a town where I knew a lot of people, I was going to school in Eau Claire and kind of living the college life, to moving to Milwaukee and work all the time where I knew nobody. We didn't know anybody down here.
Yep.
And it took us a long time before we knew a lot of people down here.
Well, we were working so much.
And we're working a lot.
Yeah.
And that's hard, especially when you're in your younger 20s.
Yeah.
That's when you're supposed to be partying.
I do remember, I think I was 31 before I actually stayed out till midnight on New Year's Eve.
Holy cow.
Because New Year's Day is a big day, and you were on the sales floor, and you can't stay out till midnight and do what you got to do the next day. That was like a milestone in my life where I actually stayed out till midnight because I didn't have to be at a store the next day. I was 31 years old already.
That's impressive. And embarrassing.
Well, probably.
See more at pennymustard.com.
Here's what's trending now on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, it's official. We're halfway to Christmas. Time to bust out the Christmas decorations and crank up the cheer with some nonstop holiday hits right now on iHeart Christmas Radio. Plus, she's bold, she's unfiltered, and she's ready to tell all. The one and only Julia Fox joins On Purpose with Jay Shetty for an honest, real, and exclusive interview that's sure to get people talking.
Explore the latest. Open the free iHeartRadio app and see what's trending now.
Breaking news here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has declined to take up a challenge that was filed almost immediately after the Supreme Court election won by Susan Crawford to Wisconsin's congressional map. This is a huge deal, ladies and gentlemen. The map challenge was filed by the lawsuit, the law firm of Mark Elias, the Elias Law Group. I have repeatedly called Elias the most dangerous man when it comes to election integrity. He wants to make it nearly impossible to have safe, secure elections. Susan Crawford, you might remember, was on a phone call with top Democrat donors promising that the purpose of the call was to, quote, put 2 more congressional seats into play in 2026 by electing Susan Crawford. I offered, I believe it was up to $50,000, and I was dead serious about that offer, too. My wife was not happy. I said, hon, I could offer $200,000. They are never going to release video or audio of that call because they all know how incriminating it would be. They were talking about getting Susan Crawford elected in order to gerrymander the 2 seats currently held by Derek Van Orden and Brian Stile so as to all but ensure that Democrats who only need a tiny handful of seats to win back the House majority would be able to do so because they'd just make it impossible for Van Orden and Stile or any other Republican to win in those 2 districts. The challenge was filed. And I don't want to sound like I'm patting myself on the back because I was the one who was warning. I was sounding the alarm before the election that this was coming. I'm not surprised they didn't take up this lawsuit. And I'll tell you why. They don't want to get embarrassed again like they were in that case I opened the show talking about, Catholic Charities v. Wisconsin Pension Board or whatever it is, Wisconsin Unemployment Insurance Board, I believe is the name. United States Supreme Court overturned Wisconsin's Supreme Court unanimously, with Sonia Sotomayor writing for the majority. Do you know how bad your ruling has to be if Sonia Sotomayor rejects it? It is my very strong belief that the justices who comprise the liberal majority knew that this sort of challenge to Wisconsin's congressional maps, I can prove that I predicted this. I wrote a column about it for McIver maybe a month or 2 ago, right after the Catholic Charities decision. I believe it was something, the title was Now the Entire Country Knows How Bad Wisconsin's Supreme Court Is, in which I predicted that they might not take up this challenge precisely because they know they would be overturned. They would have to explain why they rejected a challenge in 2024, but are now taking it up in 2025. Also, 3 of the 4 justices on the majority signed on to Governor Evers' maps. Actually, technically 2, once Susan Crawford is seated. Ann Walsh Bradley, Jill Karofsky, and Rebecca Dallett they all chose Governor Evers' maps over the Republican legislatures. You might remember that so too did Brian Hagedorn. Even when conservatives had the majority, he picked Evers' people's maps as being less gerrymandered. This is why I call him alleged conservative Brian Hagedorn. These are about as gerrymandered as it gets. Also, you would have to explain why it is that maps that turned a 9-point Republican built-in advantage to a 3-point advantage were actually gerrymandered for Republicans. This is a big, big deal, folks. I mean, really big deal. It's probably not going to get the coverage it probably deserves. But I'm telling you, I'm going to take a little while. I don't know if they wrote anything. I just saw this cross. I believe it was Scott Bauer of the Associated Press who had the first tweet on it. All of a sudden, my phone just started blowing up during that last commercial break. No, I'm not seeing a signed opinion or anything like that. So we won't know. But I'm telling you, folks, the real reason is there's no constitutional or legal basis to overturn those maps. None. Absolutely none. They all knew it, just as there was no constitution or legal basis to overturn Wisconsin's state legislative maps. That's why they fastidiously avoided any federal issue that could have had the case appealed to the United States Supreme Court, because they knew. So they focused the issue on the state maps on something called municipal islands. Municipal islands are a part of a city that isn't otherwise connected to the city, like a garbage dump or something like that, an uninhabited little rural area, little forest that's part of Milwaukee, but isn't geographically connected to Milwaukee. An exclave. There you go. Very good use of the English language, producer Eric. It would be like an exclave instead of an enclave. They said that because the map that Republicans in the legislature selected, that they drew, because it included municipal islands, it's unconstitutional. The problem? Municipal islands have been included in every single state legislative map dating back at least 75 years, including state legislative maps that Ann Walsh Bradley and other liberal justices gave an okay to. Give me a break. But they knew that the decision wouldn't be able to be appealed. They are the court of last resort on state constitutional issues. If there's a federal constitutional issue that's raised, well, then it can be appealed to the federal court system. Catholic Charities, I think, put the fear. How's about this? Catholic Charities put the fear of the Lord into the godless libs because they didn't want the sort of embarrassment. And folks, believe you me, you may not think about it. You may not. The Catholic Charities case might have been, as Ron Wolf famously said, sort of like one championship, a fart in the wind. But in legal circles, it was a big deal. When you're reversed unanimously by the Wisconsin Supreme Court, the way that Karofsky, Dallett, Ann Walsh Bradley, and Protasewicz were, it's humiliating. They should be humiliated. And in fact, I think they were. when even Ketanji Brown Jackson, who, by the way, there is a fantastic montage of her going around at oral argument of all the oral arguments, all she says for 4.5 minutes is, I don't understand, or I'm trying to understand. Just a perfect summation of Ketanji Brown Jackson's term on the the United States Supreme Court. Just her saying, I don't understand. Yeah, Ketanji, we know. When even she is reversing you and telling you that you don't know constitutional law, that's saying something. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will be back in just a second to wrap things up on this beautiful Wednesday evening.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
And Waukesha County jammed Highway T to Highway 164 with a crash block in the right lane. Past that, Moreland to the Marquette taking 18 minutes. Westbound back to Moreland at 40. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Club Car Wash and ClubCarWash.com.
$10 a month gets you the cleanest car in Sussex. Club Car Wash is open on Executive Drive across from Meyer on Lisbon. And right now, you can get an unlimited membership for $10 a month for 3 months. For more details, visit in-store or online at ClubCarWash.com.
Join the club.
Welcome back to Ask Hassles.
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
By trading in that old mattress for a new Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hassles Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. Plus, next day delivery and haul away of the old mattress for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassles.com.
Race into nice hardware for the DeWalt Tool June sales event. Get $100 off and a free 5-amp battery on the 20-volt Max blower and string trimmer combo kit. Save $100 on the 20-volt Max drill and impact driver kit for only $299.99. DeWalt reps on site Monday, June 30th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with the DeWalt race car between 12 and 5. Be in the victory lane of savings at nice June sales event featuring DeWalt power tools, highways 41, 45, and Q in Menominee Falls. Visit NEUShardware.com for details.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The two main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the two areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Our home sure feels empty now that the kids are gone. Maybe it's time to start thinking about a new home in a size that fits our life. With Belinsky Condos, we'll get peace of mind without sacrificing amenities. Plus, accessibility features like the no-step garage entry and wide hallways allow us to live comfortably today and 10 years from now. Visit Belinsky.com to learn more.
Grandma? In kitchen. Did you put these flyers in Lithuanian all over the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Okay, I know Kavelius is fool. What's the rest say?
Use translation app.
Oh boy. Okay, don't be a fool. Take excellent financial lesson with Grandma.
One lesson, $25.
You need money for something you need money for? Get a First American Bank home equity line of credit.
It's smart.
Don't get a credit card loan.
It's stupid.
Because First American Bank
has best loan deals in town. Okay, now read Big Finish.
If you get a credit card loan and not a First American Bank home equity line of credit, you could pay 2.5 times more in interest. You
Isn't this a bad word?
Very.
Grandma, everything you've said about First American Bank is correct, but charging people $25, I don't know. Come on.
You are right. Should be $100. Help me fix flyers.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Here's why money Warshevsky.
There used to be a day when the national news media prided itself on getting the story right. Those days are gone. Now it's slanted stories, unnamed sources, and fake news. The goal no longer is to inform you. The goal is to indoctrinate you. Here at News Talk 1130 WISN, our show hosts will give you straightforward information and honest analysis. That is our commitment, and that is our daily mission. News Talk 1130 WISN. Real life, real news, real good. We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Just a couple seconds left here in the Dan O'Donnell Show. Enough time for me to say thank you so much for listening. Thanks to my producer, Eric Paulson. I really am having a lot of fun. Second day back from an extended vacation. This is what I was born to do, folks. Can't wait to get back tomorrow, 3:06. We do it one more time. And then again on Friday, right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Have a great evening. Enjoy the weather.